Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah, I welcome you all to class number 49. I think it's getting more important for us to learn and understand Quran with the events what is being taking place. We all are hurt and we all have to be very mature in the way we respond to the things which are happening around the world, especially in regards to our deen, Islam, and our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I hope everybody will have patience and as a response to understand Islam and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and practice the way we're supposed to practice, inshallah. So with this note, so I will begin our class, inshallah. So today what we're going to do is we're going to learn about weak letters in Arabic. So we have done this before briefly, but we're going to do a little bit more detail, and as we go along we're going to learn in detail everything about these letters. So what are these weak letters? So in Arabic, waw and ya, they are considered to be weak letters. So these weak letters, what happens is that they can be quite challenging when they come in the noun, in an ism, and it can be quite challenging when they come in a fa'al. So what's the speciality of these two letters, waw and ya, is that they hide and between alif. Both of them, waw and ya, can hide behind this alif, and ya can also hide behind alif maksura. So then it becomes difficult for us to understand, so who is hiding, whether it is waw is hiding behind that alif, whether it is ya which is hiding behind alif, or when the alif maksura comes in, and whether it definitely has ya or there is just alif maksura on its own. So these are the things which we learn how to identify these letters and how. And whenever you see these letters, alif and alif maksura, you can be rest assured that there would be either waw or ya behind it. And another important factor about these weak letters is that the way they carry the vowel signs. They are weak for one of the reasons is that they do not carry the vowel signs on them normally. Okay, under certain circumstances they do, but normally the whole segment here, whereas alif, waw, ya, alif maksura, they all, the speciality is that they don't carry the vowel sign. So we have to figure out what is the vowel sign which is there, and that way we should be able to identify what is marfu, mansub, and majzoom or majroor if it is an ism. So that's the challenging part of the next section of this Medina book 2, where we'll be learning all about the weak letters, and especially we'll be doing verbs with weak letters. So we have waw, and we know it can go behind alif, and we have ya which can also go behind alif. So now coming to the fa'al, so we're doing 3-letter fa'al, so which has a fa kalima, ayn kalima, and lam kalima. So these 3 letters, waw, alif, and ya, they can come anywhere in these 3 letters of the fa'al. So they can come in the position of fa kalima, so we can have any of these 3 letters coming, and the 3 letters can come on the ayn kalima, and they can also come at the lam kalima. So what do we have is we have got certain denominations or certain names given to each of the fa'als which will carry these weak letters in each of the kalimas. It's not extensive, it's not very difficult, it's very easy. Inshallah we'll see what are they called. So what are the fa'al with the weak letters are called? So there are different categories. So what we'll be learning today is called al-mu'tal. Mu'tal means something which is sick or something which is weak. So that's the meaning. So the fa'al which has these letters, waw, alif, or ya, it is called mu'tal, or the weak letter. So the fa kalima, ayn kalima, and lam kalima. So we know whenever there is a weak letter, waw, alif, or ya, coming at the beginning of the fa'al, and that fa'al is called al-mu'tal al-fa'a. So it is described, actually it's described as it is weak in the fa kalima. It's very simple. So where is it weak? The weakness lies in the fa kalima. If it comes in the ayn kalima, what is it called? Understandably, it is called al-mu'tal ayn. So it is weak in the ayn kalima. So ayn kalima carries the weak letter. And similarly, if the lam kalima carries the weak, it is called al-mu'tal lam. So the lam is the weak letter. So these are the three mu'tal, so weak type of verbs which can be found. So each of these, they have got a specific name. So whenever there is a weak letter in the fa kalima, that is weakness, al-mu'tal al-fa'a. So when there is a weakness in the fa kalima, it is called al-mithal. It's called al-mithal. And if the weakness is in ayn kalima, it's in the middle of the verb, then that verb is called ajwaf. Ajwaf means empty. Jawf means mouth. And when you fill the mouth with the air, it's hollow. So that is why it's called ajwaf. And al-mu'tal al-lam means it is weak. The weak letter is in the lam kalima, and any weak letter coming at the lam at the end of the three letter fa'al, and that fa'al is called naqis. So we have al-mithal, al-ajwaf, and an-naqis. So in this segment, to begin with, we will be starting our journey in the weak letters with al-mu'tal al-ayn. So the weak letter comes in the ayn kalima, and that is called as al-ajwaf. So coming to our again three letter fa'al, fa kalima, ayn kalima, and lam kalima. So what we'll be doing now is to that the ayn kalima will be having one of these letters, waw, alif, or ya. So first example what I was trying to bring so that we understand better is the most common verb you find in the Quran and in the Arabic language is qala. So if we say qala, so what do we have? Qa is in the fa kalima, and ayn kalima we have alif, and lam kalima has lam, qala. So now this alif, we know that something is hidden behind it. So this is not the original letter. So something has to be there which has been replaced by alif. So how do we know which letter is that? So normally we go to mudari' and we see what do we say. So how do we say qala? We say yaqulu. So see, if you see here, the waw comes out. So what do we have behind this alif? It is waw. So originally it was qawala, and if you see the mudari', we say yaqulu, but this is bab nasara. Nasara yansuru. So normally, originally it was yaqulu. You see, yansuru. But we know the weak letter, they don't carry the vowel signs. What they do is they pass it on to the letter in front of it. So they say, waw will say, qaf, can you take my vowel sign please? And what will happen is the sukoon on the fa kalima is changed, and what we have is a yaqulu. So waw will just become a mad, and we have yaqulu. So how do we conjugate this? So the conjugation also changes with these weak letters. It's very interesting. It's very nice to know how the conjugation comes up. So we know qala means he said. Qala means they both said. Qalu, they all. Those men, waw represents whom, they said. Qalat means she said, and qalata, they both female, they said. We know from hunna, so whenever hunna comes, things start shaking. So things will change. So hunna will demand the lam kalima should have sukoon. So when we give a lam kalima sukoon and attach noon and niswa, it will look like this. There's a qalna, but that is not how it is pronounced. So whenever we have a situation like this where there is two sukoons coming together, normally the weak letter, it says, okay fine, I have no place here, I will go away. So whenever hunna comes, the weak letter will take an exit. So but with these weak letters, what will happen is even the fa kalima will change from qulna. That is the speciality of these weak letters, that from hunna the vowel sign on the fa kalima will change. And how will we know that what vowel sign will that fa kalima will have? So that's why the babs will come handy. So bab nasara yansuru will have dhamma on the fa kalima. That's the rule, you just have to remember it. Bab nasara yansuru, like qala yaqulu is bab nasara. Originally it was qawala yaqulu, then the signs change, so we have qala yaqulu. So what happens here is the lam, the fa kalima will get dhamma, and we have lam with the sukoon, and it's changed to qulna. So the weak letter is dropped, the lam kalima gets sukoon, and we have noon niswa. So noon niswa. So from qulna we know it becomes easy, it's like a highway. So qulta qultuma qultum, qulti qultuma qultunna, qultu qulna. So this is how the conjugation takes place in the madi. So let's take another example. So where the alif is hiding another letter. So if you say ba'a means he sold, ba'a means he sold. So what do we have behind this alif here? It's a weak letter, so it's carrying something behind it. So how do we know? We go to mudari'. So we say yabi'u. So here we know this letter is carrying ya. So this is actually yad ribu. So it should have been, this is bab daraba yad ribu. So yabi'u, that would have been the normal conjugation, but we know weak letter, it doesn't like to carry the vowel sign, pass it on. So what happens, this kasra will move to the ba, and that's how we get yabi'u. So madi would have been baya'a, but that alif, the ya, will change into alif, and that becomes ba'a in madi. So if we try and conjugate, see what happens here. So because it is having its different bab, so there are certain other changes taking place here. So if we just try and conjugate, ba'a, he sold, ba'a, they both sold, ba'u, they all those men, they sold, and ba'at, she sold, and ba'ata, so they both female sold. So we know again hunna is coming. So what happens when hunna comes? The lam kalima gets sukoon, and this is how it should look originally. The noon niswa with lam kalima sukoon and alif. So we know when there is a iltiqai sakinain, the weak letter gets dropped, and we know the fa kalima will change its vowel sign. So what vowel sign will we have here? So anything other than bab nasara, these weak letters, the ajwaf, they will take kasra. So what will happen here is, instead of ba'ana, it becomes bi'ana. So from bi'ana, now we know it is easy, it's bi'ata, bi'tuma, bi'tum, bi'ati, bi'tuma, bi'tunna, bi'atu, bi'ana. So that is how we get a kasra and dhamma on these weak verbs. So we have another situation where sometimes if we see nama is madi, so we have a weak letter here. So when we bring mudari', what do we have? Yanamu. So we have again weak letter alif here. So what is hidden behind? So this hidden letter will have to come out somewhere. So what we do is, if it is madi has a weak, we will look in mudari'. If mudari' also has a weak, what we look? We look into masdar. So what is the masdar? Sleeping means naumun. So we see naumun. So here this waw is hidden. So this one is bab sami'a. So it will be navima. So these babs we just have to learn as we go along. So there's no formula for this to how to recognize, but once we know, we have to remember. So once we know bab sami'a, it will be yes ma'u. So originally it would have been navima yan wamu. So we know wow here has to pass the vowel sign, so it give it to the noon, and what will happen is, and it itself changes into alif. So we have, instead of yanwamu, we have yanamu. So we have nama, yanamu. So again here, nama. So it's a different verb. So again the conjugation, you quickly go around. Nama, namu, namat, namata. So again from hunna, so it should look like this. But here again, because it is not verb nasara, so that fa kalima will get kasra. So it will become nimna, nimna, nimta, nimtuma, nimtum, nimti, nimtuma. They both slept. Nimtun, all those female, they slept. Nimtu, I slept. Nimna, we slept. So that is about different ways how to recognize the weak letter hidden behind the alif. So what we're going to do now is we're going to learn the very important verb in detail, inshallah, in this class, and Dr. Abdul Rahim bring this verb in the next chapter, which we're going to learn inshallah in our next class, and we'll see how this verb is conjugated. And that verb is kana, and we have done a little bit about this verb in our previous book 1. We've learned about this. So what is kana? Kana is, if you see, there is weak letter in the ain kalima. So this is ajwaf, means it is hollow in the middle. It is hollow in the middle. That's why it's called al ajwaf. And also there's another characteristic of kana, which is it is also a naqis. So here the meaning naqis means it has incomplete meaning. So we've done in book 1 where we said that whenever naqis means it is defective or it is incomplete in the construction and it's incomplete in the meaning. So kana is incomplete in the meaning because that's why it is called an naqis. What does kana means? He was. So we don't make a complete sense out of it. So that's why it is called naqis. And we know whenever there is a naqis verb with incomplete meaning, so it will have an ism and it will have a khabar. So kana will always have an ism and it will have a khabar. So this ismu kana will always be marfu and khabaru kana will always be mansoob. So that is the importance and the speciality of kana, being ajwaf in its construction and it is naqis in its meaning. So kana, how do we conjugate? So what we need to know, what is hidden behind this alif. So if we go to mudara, we will see the letter comes out. It is yakunu. So what is there? It is wow hidden behind that alif. Kana yakunu. So originally it will be kawana bab nasara yansuru. This one is, so it would have been yakunu. So now we know the wow will pass on the vowel sign to the kaf and it becomes yakunu, and kawana becomes kana and yakunu becomes yakunu. So that is how it is conjugated. So we're going to conjugate all the forms in this verb because we're going to learn in detail inshallah. So let's bring kana. Kana, he was. Kana, they both were. So it's in past tense. Kanu, they were. All those men. That's what represents whom. Kanat, she was. Kanata, they both female. They were. And it will be kunna. So we know here what will happen because it's bab nasara. So the fa kalima will change this vowel sign to dhamma, and the noon niswa is attached and the weak letter is dropped. That's why we have kunna, means those female they were. Kunta, you were. Kuntuma, you both were. Kuntum, you all, you were males. Kunti, you feminine, you were. Kuntuma, you both, you female. Kuntunna, all of you female. Kuntu means I was in the past tense. If you say I was, and say kunna means we were. If we look at hunna, so what will, the way it's written is that the noon will get a shadda because it's got two noons with the sukoon and the fatha. So it will written as kunna, and same thing happened with nahnu. So here we have to give it a little bit elongation. Say kunna means we were. So these are the two simple things you need to remember inshallah. So we will go to mudari'. So yakunu means he is. So kana means he was. Yakunu means he is in the present tense. Yakunani, so they both are. So it's a kana means they both were. Yakunani means they both are. Yakununa means all of them are. And takunu means she is. Takunani means they both female, they both are. And what happens when hunna comes? So we know when hunna comes, the lam kalima gets sukoon, and these weak letters it gets dropped. So it becomes yakunna. So how is it written? So noon gets the shadda and it is yakunna. So again, anta takunu, you are. Takunani, you both men are. It's a marfu form. And takununa is the antum, and you all are. Takununa, which waw represents antum and noon represents marfu here. And takunina, anti, you female, you are. And again takunani, you both female are. And takunna, so means all of you females, you are. And akunu means I am. Akunu means I am. And nakunu means we are. So this is how the conjugation is done with the weak letter. So with the hunna, so the weak letter is dropped, otherwise it is retained in other forms of verbs. So let's see how we make mudari'. So we have alamatu mudari' and we have takunu. So ta is the alamatu mudari'. So we know when we make amr, so we don't need alamatu mudari', we take it away and we change the fa'al into majzoom. So what we have here? We have kun. So now we know whenever there is iltiqai sakinaini, this weak letter is dropped. So what do we get? We get kun. So that's why it is kun. Be. So everybody would have heard is kun fay. Allah says in the Quran, the kun fayakun, be and it is. So kun means is the amr, takdiru anta, fa'il. So takunani means two in front of you. Antuma, how do you make an amr? So you take the mudari' away and we change this into majzoom. How do we change dual into majzoom? When we drop the noon. So when we drop the noon, so after waw there is a fatha, so we don't need to drop the waw. So we have kuna. It's not kuna, it is kuna. So if we have to do antum, so give amr to all of in front of you. So again we take the alamat mudari' away and we know how to make it majzoom is the bi hadafi noon. So it becomes kunu. Kunu is antum. So how do we make takunina anti? How do we give a female and amr to be with this? So we take the mudari' away and again we drop the noon. So it'll be kuni. So ya is the fa'il here. It is feminine, anti. So both female it will be again kuna, and all of those female it will be takunna. So we take the alamat mudari' away and becomes kunna. So we can pronounce the vowel sign. So this is how amr is made: kun, kuna, kunu, kuni, and kunna. So this is about kana. So there's more information about kana. Kana is used in jumlatul ismiya. That means it will not have fa'il, it will have ism and khabar. So let's bring some examples and we'll finish our class, so we'll be able to understand better, inshallah. So if I bring an example from Dr. Abdul Rahim, it says al-ma'u baridun. So the water is cold. If you want to say the water was cold, so in the past tense, which means if you bring kana, so what will happen? The mubtada will become ismu kana and the khabar will become khabar kana. So we know the khabar kana is mansoob. So what will happen now? Kana al-ma'u baridan. So it will become mansoob. Kana al-ma'u baridan. The water was cold. So al-ma'u is your ism and baridan is your خبر كان. So if we bring a feminine sentence, زينب مريضة. So Zainab is sick, but if you want to say she was, we say كانت زينب مريضة. So it will become خبر كان will become منصوب. So زينب will be your اسم كان and مريضة will be your خبر كان. So with some more example, so you say الجو جميل. So if you say the weather is beautiful, so you want to say weather was beautiful. كان الجو جميلا. So جميلا is your اسم كان منصوب. So if we have a jumla, we know the khabar can be of 5 types. So if it is mufrad, then what we'll have is your mansoob. But if it is shibu jumla, or if it is jumlatul fa'aliyah or jumlatul ismiyah, so in whatever way, what we'll say fi mahalli nasbin. So if you take an example, say al mudarrisu fil fasli. So teacher is in the class. So if you say teacher was in this class, we say we bring kana. So the al-mudarrisu will remain the same, and fil fasli will also remain same, but what we will say is al-mudarrisu is ismu kana, and fil fasli jar majrur shibu jumla khabar fi mahalli nasbin khabru kana. So kana al-mudarrisu fil fasli. So these are the ways where we can be able to identify the weak verbs and how to conjugate and how to identify, especially with kana. So we have ism and khabar. So inshallah we'll learn some more concept in our next class about kana, and we'll start our lesson number 25 inshallah. Until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.